Thank you all for tuning in. The following is a presentation of Bald Spots Productions. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Subscribe, follow, whatever it is you've got to do to kick that algorithm into gear and help us reach more people. Yes, it is I, your humble host, Bill Hatch the Third, coming to you live from the Palatial Home Studios, Bald Spots Productions here in the beautiful city of Malden, Missouri. Joining me from a more than acceptable safe social distance is my guest for today, Simar Bedi. How you doing, Simar?
Good, Bill. Yourself?
I am excellent. Just a little cold here in Missouri. Not quite used to it. I used to live in Southern California, and this is my first real winter in a long time.
Really?
So
We're here in Mississauga, Ontario. It's cold here all the time, my friend. We're used to it. We're cold-blooded.
Yeah, I saw that. So up there in Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, and you head up Soul Recycling.
That's right.
Correct? Yeah,
That's right.
and I was looking at your website. I have it in the description for anyone who wants to go and check out the website. Yeah, you've got some incredible programs going on. How did you get started?
I got started with, my dad had a printing company in the early 2000s, and he had a lot of paper waste. And as an environmentalist and just me being a young guy trying to do the best, it was a family business. It was like, hey, why do we keep throwing all this stuff in the garbage? There must be someone that needs it. So it was more of a question, and my intrigue and I was just being a curious George to see why can we recycle newspapers and magazines at home with the blue box system, or if you guys have that in Missouri, I'm not too sure, but your recycling program, but not for businesses. So I was 25 at that time, and I did some research and said, hey, paper is very recyclable. Why aren't we recycling it? Then it connected all the dots, and what ended up happening is what we were throwing in the garbage to then pay to get rid of, we ended up getting paid for our garbage to be recycled. Right? And then boom, light bulb went off. I told my dad I'm breaking away from the family business and starting my own recycling company. And here we are. Now we're 10,000 tons a month of diverted recyclables from landfill, and we're on a mission. We're on a mission, right? We're on a mission to end landfills. Right. So here we are. And I'm talking to you. So this is it. This is 10 years, almost 11 years later.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So wow. Sounds like you got started pretty young there. Yeah. But yeah. No, that's incredible. Yeah. I don't know if I'd be called an environmentalist, but I like breathing clean air and drinking clean water. So
right.
Take that as you will. But no, I've always believed that there's that we're just one good thought away from making the world a better place.
That's right.
And it sounds like a lot of this is just is being creative, and how did you? I mean, you've got so many different things that you recycle now. I was looking at the website, and everything from aviation waste to medical waste, and all. I mean, how do you go about recycling something like medical waste? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So I'm going to take it back a notch here, right? So to get to your answer. So when you look at landfills, they're literally just, digging a hole in the ground and putting everything into it. And then I myself, when starting this company, I went to landfills, and I seen I would say up to 80% of what's at the landfill was recyclable. Right? The plastics, the paper, the metals. So I said, whoa, like what's going on here? We're just digging a hole and stuffing it. And to your other point, like you said, you like drinking clean water. Well, if you keep digging, you eventually hit water. And so the waste seeps into our waterways, and we're drinking more plastic than we have ever before, right? We can't even. I was reading an article. They were saying you shouldn't be eating fish anymore because the fish is mostly contaminated with plastics. So it's our waterways, our food, everything's getting contaminated. And now to answer, how do you recycle something so complex like medical waste, because it's hazardous and it has a lot of these germs, and obviously during COVID and all these times, how do we handle it? So we now put a technology. It's not a new technology. It's actually a European technology. It's called waste conversion, and it doesn't burn at all, right? Where we have incinerators, where how we used to treat medical waste was burning it, right? And then, of course, the emissions and pollution is just not the right way of dealing with it, but that was a way of getting rid of something that's hazardous. So then we put this technology from Europe in Canada, and we're now branching out to the US as well, where it converts this. It uses a non-burning technology, so it's thermal and friction based. So it kills all the hazardous, and it makes it into an RDF, which is a fuel. So RDF is a acronym for basically fuel, and then it has a fuel benefit of it. So it could be used as fuel, or it could be used as stuffing, or like flooring or additive into asphalt, and that is what would traditionally go into landfills. So we divert all of that. So we are a recycling company, Canadian recycling company, moving into the US, and we divert everything out of landfills. And with our technology and our recycling programs, you make money from your recyclings. We pay you for your recycling. So whichever business has recyclables, which they all do, we pay them for it. And then whatever little is usually very little, 90% is something that we pay for. And the 10% that's left over that's meant to be landfilled, we actually convert. So we use as well. A complete solution, my friend. I know it's a lot of information, but
Yeah,
it is, but like we're changing the landscape of how we treat waste, right? Waste is not waste
right,
anymore. It's actually a resource.
right. Yeah,
Right.
it can't be. I mean, we have to be efficient because we've only got so many resources available, especially when
Exactly.
it comes to land.
That's right.
And if we're taking up all the land space by making landfills, then yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And Bill, you hit exactly that. We're running out of landfill space.
Mhm.
Right? And what happens when you run out? The waste just ends up going further and further. Once one landfill's full, you go further and further north, or whichever areas are
Right,
overseas, and eventually we'll just be a whole earth full of waste. Right? So there
right.
has to be an end to this problem, and I think we're hitting it. We're hitting the nail on the head, and we're trying to get the word out, saying, hey, because what happens is, like, for example, right now we're trying to approach cities to make cities zero waste to landfills, but because the lobbyists and all these political people are very used to waste guys, and waste, and they're asking waste landfill affiliated companies for the solution for the waste problem. Why would they? It's like asking big tobacco to solve the addiction of nicotine, right? Which
Right.
they did, which they did, right? And the same thing's happening now, and we're trying to get our voices heard, saying, hey, we're down here, and we have a solution for you guys. Nothing needs to go to landfill. We could actually make it a resource.
Mhm.
And that's why we're doing things like this, Bill. And hopefully we could catch the right ear, and enough of the public knows, and so they start demanding solutions like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's where it's got to be. And I've noticed that the people who are more organized and tend to be the ones who get their voices heard. Um, which is why various people with various illnesses have a better lobby because they're organized. They're inspired to do something about their issue. But the reason why we still have potholes is because nobody organizes over it. Nobody's that inspired to take care of it. So how do we get people to be more inspired to take care of this waste problem?
Yeah,
and do like your solutions.
so Bill, it really comes down, unfortunately, and fortunately for us at least, to the bottom line. Nobody really cares until there's money in their pocket. Isn't that like the way the world works now, right? Like,
Seems to
nobody,
be. Seems to be.
right? So it doesn't matter what is the right or wrong thing to do, is who's getting paid, right?
Yeah.
So now we have a solution. It's funny, but it's the truth, right? It's the unfortunate truth of how the world works. And the way that we set up our company is we pay you for your waste, right? Our first
Nice.
solution is to maximize recycling. We're primarily first a recycling company. And
Okay.
once we maximize that, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, we're good. Sorry. Once we maximize that, then we go into converting, right? Waste conversion. And then that turns into a resource as well. So we are telling you, hey, we could pay you for your recyclables. Sorry, just 1 second here.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we
Work.
could
The work
go
never
on.
ends.
The work never ends. So once we maximize the recycling is the approach that we're going to take, and then maximize from the recycling how much money you make back. We then go into waste conversion, because waste conversion does cost money due to the process, but we hope to offset it with all the money coming back from the actual commodities, which are recycling.
Okay.
Right?
And listen, you mentioned about that some of it goes into asphalt fill.
Yes.
Wow, how's that? That's kind of cool, because I'd always thought that it was just, asphalt was just tar and little bits of rock. What's that look like? How's that work?
No, I'm glad you asked that question, because I have a good story on how this works. So I got two stories to tell you, so I can answer the question properly. So
Okay.
when I started soul recycling, one of the hardest things to recycle was plastic bottles, because the cap was one type of plastic, the bottle was a different type of plastic, the label was something else, and then there's liquid involved, so there's contamination. So I was like, how do we recycle these bottles that say that they're recyclable? So I'm calling the manufacturer, like, hey, you got the little triangle here, but there's nowhere, nobody takes the stuff, like, what are you trying to, like, where do I go with this? No answers, no answers, no answers, of course, right? And I was exhausted, and I actually almost gave up on plastic. And then I found a company in Dubai that was looking for PET bottles in any shape, form, to put into their asphalt. And then I asked them, hey, like, can't other people use it in their asphalt? They're like, not necessarily, because Dubai gets so hot. And when they add PET plastic to their asphalt, it makes their asphalt less hot. So it's more heat resistance. So they ordered about 100 tons of
Oh.
PET plastic from Canada and all places of the world while Dubai was booming, and it still is. And so all their roads in Dubai
Mm-hmm.
has a PET plastic additive to it. And that's how I started the plastic there. And then, of course, um, there's a lot more plastic, right? There's PP and all other types of plastic as well, HD and LDPE, and the straws that they banned and all this stuff. And then we convert that. We use it in the converter, and the converter turns into an RDF, which is almost, it looks like a fluff. And I'd love to show you. One day when you come to Toronto, we'll show you. It looks like a fluff, and they also use that fluff as an additive in asphalt as well. It just makes the
Oh,
tar and all the other rocks, everything form properly.
okay. Okay. No, that's really interesting. Yeah, there was a time at which I thought I was going to be an engineer and still do a little hobbyism with it. But yeah, yeah, it's amazing the different things that you can do. Like I said, we're just one creative thought away from solving our problems, from having a better world. And
Yep.
it sounds like you're really doing it. Your website is soulrecycling.com. Soul SOL recycling.com. And of course, I've got the link in the description so people can go over there and find out more about what you do and how you might be able to help their businesses. Let's see. So yeah, what are some other recycling types that you do? What's some other types of waste? Because I saw there's a long list on the website of
Oh,
what you can recycle. What's the most interesting one?
what is the most interesting one? I would say the most interesting is diapers.
Okay.
Dirty diapers, right? Not necessarily dirty, but just diapers. You wouldn't expect diapers are recyclable, right?
Yeah. The
So
little bit of a mix of materials there.
definitely contaminated, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So diapers is an interesting one. We did a project here with a major like senior home, basically. I would
Okay.
say like a nursing home.
Hmm.
And what this company would do is actually supply the linens for the senior home,
Mm.
right? So they had a lot of senior homes and hospitals and things like that, and they would actually do the linens. And then they put together a diaper program for the seniors and the hospitals. And those dirty diapers would come to us, and the way that we would process it is actually send it to a tissue mill, and the tissue mill would put it into their pulper, and all the contaminants, remember, are water soluble, right? The urine and
Right.
the soiled, uh, all the stuff, all the stuff
Yeah.
there. So it's all water soluble. So we did a big project. We still do it. It's an ongoing project. And then it all becomes the brown tissue that you see at any store that says recycling of the brown tissue. Like when you go to, let's say, a Costco and you buy the brown tissue and it says made from
Hmm.
100% recyclable fiber, that fiber is partly from diapers.
Huh. Okay.
Right? So yeah, so we did that, and we're doing that currently with one of the linen companies, and we're trying to expand that project. We're trying to expand to get more diapers, right? Yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
cleanest. Nobody likes to handle it, but it's not really handles more so processed, but nonetheless, it's something interesting that is recyclable.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yes.
So yeah, so well, shoot, that's one I could see the issue with that being how spread out they are, because it's not like you've got one major industry, location that's producing all of these dirty diapers. You've got homes all around the world that are producing a few
Right.
of them, and all. How do you solve the logistics of something like that?
Well, we try to do, like for the diaper project, we wouldn't be going to homes. Like remember, we partnered with a linen company that would supply
Oh, okay.
linens to hospitals and nursing homes. Right, so they
Okay.
are coming to us in high volume, and we need synergies like a linen company that's already going there, that is environmental, that then they could add a service on their end, right? They could add the linen company. What they did was like, hey, we also recycle diapers if you guys want us to pick it up. So they picked it up for us, and then they would drop it to us. So we would get it,
Okay.
and that's how it
Okay,
would
so
work.
you send it on down the chain.
Exactly. And that's how it would work for businesses as well. And that's a part of us spreading the awareness, right? If other business owners are listening to this, they might want to integrate recycling into their services and expand their businesses. And then a recycler like us could actually accept all the material.
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah. This is the first time we've ever talked about dirty diapers on the show. So,
That's the headline. Where are your diapers going?
my
Right?
goodness,
So,
oh my goodness. So,
yeah.
how many people do you employ up there in Canada at Seoul?
Direct employees, I would say about 50 direct employees,
Okay,
but contractors, North America wide, I would say about 200.
nice. Nice. So, so
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
something that could take care of a few problems that, or as my old mentor used to call them, opportunities for improvement.
That's it. That's it. That's it. And this is a new frontier for a lot of companies where they're just so used to dealing with waste companies. And one of the part of our message is it's not waste until we tell you it's waste, because there's a lot of misconceptions of what's recyclable and what's not, and it changes city by city and making it even more confusing. And we like to have that direct relationship with the producers of waste, like the companies and the businesses or the people, and educate them on, because it's forever evolving. Like diapers were never recyclable. Today we recycle it. PET bottles were never recyclable. Today we recycle it. It's forever changing. So we urge people to call us and get informed, and one day everything will be recycled, and we are at that stage where we are kind of basically there.
What makes something difficult to recycle?
It's what makes something difficult to recycle. It's the mixed aspect of it, where one component has a metal lid, a plastic frame, liquid inside. It makes it difficult, but can it not be recycled? I can't. Nowadays, the way that I look at waste, I don't see it as garbage now.
That's okay. Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
we go.
So once we start looking at waste, yeah. Okay, we're recording. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So once we start looking at waste as a resource, I think everything changes then. And once we change that mindset of the common consumer, where this is not garbage, it's not out of sight, out of mind, this is an actual commodity, and we could use this for something, just like how oil is used today,
Right.
and that will change a lot of the problems that we currently have.
Okay. What is the most commonly recycled item?
Newspapers, of course, cardboard boxes with all the e-commerce blowing up with the Amazon boxes and all. Those are the most common, easiest things to recycle. So do not throw that in the garbage. There's no problems. There's no
Right.
questions. Cans, of course, like anything metal is very recyclable. Metal recycling's been around for hundreds of years. So please, if you're still
Yeah.
putting a pop can in the garbage, stop doing it. So recycling's not new. New items are now being recycled.
Yeah. Wow. So much. What are some common questions people have about recycling?
Common questions about recycling. It's more so like they'll take a photo and say, "Hey, is this recyclable?" Right? That's the most common thing, and most of the yeah, and the most of the time, it's funny. It is recyclable. It is recyclable most of the time, and I actually it's the way that they process it. Like for example, if they brought a Lunchable, the Lunchable, I don't know if you guys have Lunchables there where they
Mm-hmm.
have a sleeve on it where it's actually paper and the actual Lunchable is in a plastic tray,
Right.
right? So as
Okay.
long as they separate those two very recyclable items, it's recyclable. But they ask as one component. I'm like, no, as long as you just take it apart and put it in separately, you're good to go.
So take it apart. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was.
it's one.
I saw
Yeah.
something. I saw something the other day on. It was a commercial on a YouTube video. Um, but they were asking what was the hardest thing here to recycle, and it turned out it was the paper container for water because the inner sleeve was aluminum and the cap was
Oh,
plastic, and
yeah,
the outer portion was what was paper, and all. And I thought, wow, that's really insightful. I'd never considered that you have to take these things all apart in order to recycle them.
yeah,
Um,
and it's very good. That's a very good point because even the coffee pods, if you look at them,
mhm,
the top is aluminum and the bottom is plastic, so it's kind of the same
right.
concept. Uh, those items, yeah, are very difficult to recycle, and we do recycle them, but it's very, let's say, it's a hands-on process that is a lot of processing.
Okay.
Right? And it's yeah, those type of products, because of course they have to sell them and they have to make a certain type of package so they last long on shelves and things like
Hmm.
that. But for the common consumer, you always want to aim for something that's labeled it's from recycling. Because what that sends to the manufacturer, sends a message saying that now the consumers are aware, and they often buy items that are made with more recyclable material. And if it's made with recyclable material, it can be recycled again, right? When you see that a bottle or a package says, hey, made from 10% of recycled plastic or 10% of recycled paper, pick that up. It promotes the whole recycling economy, the circular economy that we all aim for. And so don't go for the fancy stuff that has the aluminum inside and it's plastic on the outside and has a plastic cap, and it says it's like the best water you could drink. I'm sure other waters are very comparable with a better packaging for our earth.
Yeah.
Because with that packaging, you're poisoning our waterways just so you could drink maybe 500 milliliters of good clean water, and and you're contaminating all the other water.
Right. Right.
So
um,
it's the
no, go ahead.
so we have to bring up the awareness for sure, and once our consumers are aware of everything, they look at your packaging, see what you're buying and see what you're actually getting, and see what you're doing with it afterwards. It's the awareness that we're really trying to spread as well.
And what kinds of things do you do to spread awareness outside of being on wonderful podcasts like this one?
So it's really old school, my friend. Like, we look at businesses that are throwing out a lot of garbages, and we go dumpster diving. And we go in the
Okay.
dive, they're like, hey, what are you doing? We're like, and we tell them, like, all this stuff that you're throwing in the garbage is money. So, and we walk into those businesses and we spread that awareness, right? So we have a keen eye, like all of our sales reps and myself and whoever else. And it's almost a company mindset. So if they see a company or even their own households throwing items that are recyclable into the garbage, bring it up, and it's
Okay.
it's a win-win because we pay for it, right? And
Right.
so that's what we do, really. Like, we're very on the front line for that. And yeah, of course, we do podcasts like this and things like that, hoping we could reach the right people.
Okay. Yeah. So it does sound like awareness isn't the big problem. It could be because, like you said, it's money going into the trash, and if you can make it about that, then there are very few people who would not want to get on board, because who doesn't like a little
That's
money,
right. That's
you
right.
know?
That's right. So we put an incentive for your trash, so we can't lose. We can't lose. It's a win-win for everyone.
Absolutely. Um, let's see. What are some things that individuals can do? As a grassroots kind of effort.
It's a good question. I haven't had that yet as a grassroots kind of effort. So I worked with a charity once, and they did a fair where they would collect all the recyclables from everyone that would come to this fair, and they would get tokens for the recyclables, just so they could play the games and stuff. So that's something that someone organized, and then we ended up paying for all the recycling. People brought like old computers and things like that. We had signage up of what we would pay for and what we wouldn't pay for, and everybody got tokens to play at the fair. And that was something grassroots, and we really enjoyed that. Maybe more people could do.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
really a cool idea.
it was.
Yeah,
It
because
only
we don't.
happened once, so
Hey, once is all it takes for proof of concept.
that's it. That's it.
But yeah, because we don't have a recycling program in Malden here. It all goes in the garbage, and
Wow.
yeah, which is crazy compared to how everything was in California. It was like practically everything was going in the recycling bin, and
Yes.
you know, but yeah, how hard is it to start a recycling program?
It's actually not that hard to start a recycling program. It really goes down to what you're actually throwing into the garbage today. So that what we would have to do is do a waste audit. So that is a little complicated, but that's exactly our job. We do a waste audit. We'll give you figures of exactly what you're throwing in the garbage that's worth money, and exact figures of how much revenue you're losing. And that's how we would do it. We'd put a waste audit together for cities or companies, and then put a recycling program in based on the numbers that we present.
Could people contact you about putting that together?
Oh, for
Mayors
sure.
and whatnot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Our
Okay.
website would be probably the best contact, and there's a 1-800 number that we just got as well. I should have memorized it by now, but I haven't. But I would say visit the website, and that's the
Visit the
best
website.
source to contact us through. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and there are definitely resources there. I saw that you certify businesses as far as when they're zero waste. And how'd that come about?
That's right. So
How did that come
we
about?
certify
Yeah.
business, yeah. So we certify businesses based on diversion rate. So we will tell them, we put the recycling program in, and we show them the before and after of all this material that was going in garbage for, and now it's being landfill diverted. And we certify them, and we tell them, if you saved 100 tons this month in recycling, you saved this many trees, you diverted this much cubic landfill space, you saved this much electricity, and so on and so forth. So there's a formula for it all, of course, and then that's how we do it.
Okay, cool. And yeah, what's been Soul's overall impact to date? How
So
much have you
our
done?
goal, yeah. So so currently we divert every month 10,000 tons that were originally going to
Wow,
landfill. So yeah, and that's, to put into perspective, that's about 2 football fields worth of landfill space saved every month. Yeah, yeah,
that's a
yeah.
lot of trash.
That's a lot of trash, my
Yeah.
friend. It's a lot of trash. So and that's a big achievement of ours, and we hope to grow that by 100 times. So let's see. We're trying to solve a big problem.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a big problem. Well, um, let's see. The website is soulrecycling.com. Soul SOL like the sun, recycling.com, and the link's in the description. So head on over there and get started. This is a great program. It's an incredible program, really. We only have so much space, and nobody wants a garbage dump in their backyard. So let's get rid of that. And so contact Soul and let Simmer take care of it. So wow. We've gotten to about the half-hour point, which is when things start to fall apart for me. Uh,
No problem. No problem.
but yeah. So do you have any final words for the nice people?
Final words would be: stop looking at your garbage as garbage. Start looking at it as a resource, and call us if you have any questions.
Okay. And yeah, head over to the website and find that phone number. Um, yeah. And so I'd like to thank you, Simmer, for being on. It's really been an informative session for me. And I hope everyone's enjoyed it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Remember to stay safe out there. Recycle, don't throw it away. Remember to wash your hands and stay tuned for the ending credits. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been a presentation of Bald Spots Productions. I'd like to thank our producer, my beloved mother, Eileen Hatch. I, of course, am your humble host. I'd like to thank my very special guest, Simar Bedi of Soul Recycling. Support the show if you feel so led over on patreon.com. We're known as Bald Spots Pro. Don't you dare miss YWL Online. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever fine podcasts are offered. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Subscribe, follow, whatever it is you've got to do to kick that algorithm into gear and help us reach more people. If you or someone you know needs support now, call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org. That is the suicide and crisis lifeline here in the United States.